Good morning and a warm welcome, Sage here for Kalkine TV, reporting to you live from Sydney. And you are watching the Global Markets Roundup. Let's dive into some key highlights and happenings from yesterday, starting with the US market. And the European stocks pared the losses and Wall Street reversed the earlier gains on Thursday as investors weighed uncertainty over the central bank's tapering and economic recovery due to the coronavirus Delta variant against the strong weekly jobless claims data. Benchmark US indices closed in the red on Thursday after the latest labour data showed the number of jobless benefits claims dropped to the lowest level in 18 months. The S&P 500 was down 0.46%. And the Dow Jones fell 0.43%, the Nasdaq Composite shed 0.25%, and the small cap Russell 2000 was down as well, 0.03%. Investors kept away from risky bets despite the positive data, and new unemployment benefits claims fell by 35,000 in the week ending 4th September from the previous week's figures, suggesting the labour market's recovery is on track. However, traders chose to play safe amid the mixed global cues. And the gold prices rose on Thursday after the US dollar marginally declined as the European Central Bank moved to dial back its 1.85 trillion euro or US 2.2 trillion pandemic-era bond buying scheme. The bank said the purchase amount would be moderately lower than the last 6 months. Financial and basic materials sectors were the biggest gainers on the S&P 500. Healthcare and the real estate stocks were the bottom movers, and 8 of the 11 index segments stayed in the red. GameStop stocks traded flat after reporting mixed quarterly results a day before. Its net sales were $1.183 billion for the second quarter, and operating loss was $58 million. Shares of apparel company Lululemon Athletica surged 10.58% in the intraday trading after reporting strong quarterly results on Wednesday. Its revenue surged 61% year over year to reach $1.5 billion in the second quarter, while income from the operations increased by 134% year on year. Let's move on now to the futures and commodities market. Gold futures were up 0.14%, while silver increased by 0.11% and copper rose 1.16%. The Brent oil futures decreased by 1.86% and WTI crude was down 1.99%. Looking at the bond market now. The 30-year Treasury bond yields were down 2.89%, while the 10-year bond yields fell 3.07%. And the US dollar futures index decreased by 0.14%. And now it's time for a small break, but stay tuned as I'll be back with the Asian and Australian market updates.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
Sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With Kalkine TV.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sage and you're watching the Global Markets Roundup show by Kalkine TV. And the Eurozone stocks bounced off session lows to end with little change on Thursday after the European Central Bank signalled it will only slightly reduce its emergency bond purchases over the coming quarter, as widely expected. And after falling as much as 0.9% in the morning's trade, the Pan-European Stock 600 index ended largely unchanged around 467.57 points. The London markets traded in a red zone after the European Central Bank decided to reduce the bond buying program. 888 Holdings shares dropped by about 3.61% after the company had agreed to acquire William Hill's non-US business for approximately £2.20 billion. And the FTSE 250 listed EasyJet shares plunged by around 10.77% after the company denied a takeover deal. Moreover, the company announced it would raise gross proceeds of around £1.20 billion. Genus had warned of volatility in the Chinese porcine market, which would persist for some months, creating an operational headwind. And furthermore, Genus shares went down by around 8.11%. Moving on now to the Asian markets. Japan's Nikkei index retreated from a near 6-month high to close lower on Thursday, in line with the global markets as worries flared about slowing economic growth due to the fast-spreading Delta coronavirus variant. And the Nikkei share average closed down 0.57%, snapping an 8-day winning streak, the longest since early November. The broader topics fell as well, 0.71%, down from a 3-decade closing high on Wednesday. And China's stocks are mixed on Thursday, with technology shares dropping due to Beijing's fresh crackdown on gaming. But resources plays are surging on accelerating the factory inflation. And the Shanghai Composite Index gained 0.5% to the highest closing level in 6 months. The blue chip CSI 300 index was little changed at 4,970.01 points. South Korean shares closed lower on Thursday to mark their sharpest fall in 3 weeks as platform tech companies like Kakao and Naver dropped on concerns of a regulatory crackdown. The benchmark Kospi ended 1.53% lower at 3,114.70. And moving on to the Australian market now. The ASX 200 fell 1.9% to 7,369.5 points yesterday after payrolls data showed a steep fall in jobs in the first half of August. And Cleanaway Waste Management, WiseTech Global and JB Hi-Fi are a few shares going ex-dividend on Friday. The energy stocks such as Woodside Petroleum Limited and Santos could be under pressure on Friday, and the gold prices inched higher on the softening US dollar. Gold spot prices rose 0.32% and the future settled 0.4% higher at $1,800 per ounce. ASX listed gold stocks such as Northern Star Resources and Newcrest Mining could trade higher on Friday. And thanks for joining us, but that's all for now. Do keep watching Kalkine TV for more market updates. Sage signing off.